Join us on April 25th for the 2024 Bench Draft Party. Free to join, live streamed on YouTube. We'll be reacting to every first round pick, releasing exclusive content, and giving away new merch. Subscribe to the Bench Podcast on YouTube and turn on the notifications, and we will see you April 25th for the first round of the NFL Draft.
This is Coach JB, and you're listening to the Benched NFL Podcast.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bench Podcast. My name is Joey, your host. Joined as always by my brother, co-host Angel Tovar. Angel, what's up, man?
What's up? What's going on? It is draft week. Oh, I can feel the energy from here.
Yeah, baby. We are recording on a Tuesday night. You're watching this hopefully on a Wednesday or late on Tuesday. We'll see how fast I get this thing up. But you see there on the screen joining us today, the Professor, David Adams, Terrell Thorogood. How you boys doing?
It's great to be here. Looking forward to the mock draft. Looking forward to the real draft. We are in just a couple hours away at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, baby. We're ready to go. Of course, as we approach the NFL draft Thursday night, the first round, of course, we are having the Benched Draft Party. Very excited about that. Streaming on YouTube starting at 4:30. So that's 30 minutes before the draft, all the way through the last pick of the first round. We'll be covering every single pick, doing some giveaways, and having some special guests. Boys, I am excited to announce we have booked on the books Coach Jason Brown.
Oh, my God.
Last chance you.
JB.
The man himself at the real JB. My guy will be joining us hopefully pre-draft. It might bleed over into some of the first picks, but he's going to be with us talking quarterbacks, talking draft process. He, of course, not only is the star of this wildly successful show on Netflix, Last Chance You, if you haven't watched it. Also a giant personality himself. Also a very successful college football coach.
Yes.
Who has dealt with every part of the evaluation process as far as college athletes into the pros. He has professional athletes in the NFL right now who he has coached on his team. This guy is a legit NFL talent evaluator, has had his hands on a lot of players who have done great things even now in the NFL. Excited to talk to him about that. Excited to get his insight on what this is right now, not only as a prospect, but also as a coach. What are you doing? What kind of phone calls are you taking? Who's calling you? Are they calling you this late? What does that evaluation process look like from a coaching perspective? So excited to talk to him, Coach Jason Brown. Make sure you're on for that. And then we have another guest I'm not ready to announce yet. Maybe that'll be a surprise for the day of. Our third guest is going to be Professor David Adams, calling in probably after the top 10, maybe top 15, somewhere around there.
We booked him.
Oh, yeah, we got him, baby.
We got him.
My secretary able to clear the schedule a little bit. So, yeah, me and Coach Brown, it's very similar.
There you go. Yeah.
Provide some insight.
But in all honesty, very excited to have you. Thanks for joining us, David, on that night, for making time with us. And, of course, Terrell Thorogood's going to be in the house there, sitting in the room with us, along with Gabe and AJ at the producer desk. We are working very hard to make that a good time for you. Also, keep you informed of the draft and just hang out, have a good time, enjoy the draft night, a tailgate type atmosphere with a whole lot of football and information talk. Very, very excited about that. We're going to get into today mock draft 3.0. Me and Angel have drafted with the Professor David Adams, and we have drafted with Terrell Thorogood. Today, we join all of our minds, and we put together the perfect benched mock draft 3.0, right?
I got to say, this was my favorite mock just because we did it. We know me and you did it with Terrell and DA Paz, and different outcomes because Terrell drafts a different way than David Adams, and I, But today, when we were doing this draft, we really saw the difference between the people who take a little bit more risks, give it all for one pick, and people who kind of stay back, who like stick and pick. A lot of different variations of this draft. This is my favorite, by far, my favorite mock draft.
Yeah, a couple trades here in the draft and a couple people moving up, moving down, of course, and a couple surprise picks, a couple names I haven't seen in our first round mock draft so far. So very excited to get into here. Mock draft 3.0. Let's not waste some more time, boys. Let's get into it with the first pick. David Adams has the Chicago Bears. Take it away.
With the first pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback USC.
Whoa.
We are breaking new ground here. Nobody has said this before. I think we're probably the first ones to connect Williams and Chicago. But now we've seen this coming. Everybody's seen this coming. There's no real reason to belabor this. We know this is going to be it. There's a little bit of Drake Maye buzz entering the 2023 college season.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels obviously had a great college year as well. But Williams has been untouchable as that top prospect. He's going to Chicago. And really the question is going to be if Williams hits the upside that Bears fans, the Bears front office anticipates him having, how quickly is he going to climb the ranks of all-time Chicago Bears quarterbacks?
Yeah.
How, is he going to get to that number one spot, even within the first couple of years? That's really what Chicago's asking themselves, much more than who are we actually picking.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's that type of prospect, right? Where he should easily reach that bar because it's not a very high bar. We were talking about this. We were talking about this a little bit pre-show. Jay Cutler, Rex Grossman, McMahon, all these different guys. None of the guys that you think of even the okay Mount Rushmore. They don't even make that one. I mean, these guys are just all together mediocre, right? And so
Jay Cutler,
if Caleb Williams is the guy that we think he is, Bears fans have so much to be excited for. So much to be excited for. Okay, Angel, I'll let you loose, man. I know I disrespected Jay Cutler. How soon is Caleb Williams the best quarterback in Bears history?
Jay Cutler went to the playoffs. He didn't win the playoff game, but he went to the playoffs.
He went to the playoffs.
As soon as he does that, then he'll be better than Jay Cutler. Until that time, Jay Cutler.
That was the low bar I was mentioning.
Yeah.
He went to the playoffs.
I mean, playoffs it's a big deal.
Thanks for making my point for me, Ange.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Let's move on here to the second pick. I have the second pick, and with that second pick, I said that a lot there in about 5 seconds. The Washington Commanders take Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Now, I considered trading back, and that's the first time really that like a lot of people are talking about that as far as seriously. It's been rumors of it, but because of what happened this week and some of the things we heard from Jayden Daniels' camp, from other just leaks in the internet, is that he did not like the recruiting process. They, of course, got all the draft picks and said, come on down. We're taking you all to Chuck E. Cheese. And they took them all out. They just let him play. They gave him a cup full of tokens and said, go ahead. We'll see you in a couple hours. Really, they did the adult version of that. They went to Top Golf and they played golf and they had, a $20 meal there at Top Golf, some terrible hot wings, something like that. And Jayden Daniels, listen, he didn't like it. He's a quarterback going number 2 overall. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. He thinks he deserves a little more than that. I think that's a little much for a rookie. Just go through the process and get drafted. It's how I see it. But whatever. If that's the way he feels. So I still don't think that's enough for him to for the Commanders to pass on him here. I think offended or not, they're gonna take him with the number 2 pick. Terrell, let me ask you, Jayden Daniels, is he offended enough for the Commanders to say, well, let's shit this pick on and keep looking for a quarterback? We're going with Mariota.
No, I mean, the Commanders are going to do whatever they want. It just shows that they took the guy to Top Golf, right? So it's safe to say that it gave Jayden Daniels the ick, as they like to say. It's like those girls are like, don't take me out for ice cream on my first date, right?
Yep.
Like, he took you to Top Golf. What are you doing? I've loved him from the beginning. He's an RG3 type. He's going to make a splash from day one under Cliff Kingsbury. So I like him taking it there. So
Jayden Daniels, I have him going number 2 to Washington.
With the third pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver, Ohio State. I'm going to die on this hill. Yeah. Until that draft night happens, when they're on the clock and they announce the pick, I'm going to say Marvin Harrison should be picked third. He's the third best player in this draft. In my opinion, like he's the amount of talent, the gap between him and the next tier of wideouts it's significant, But I think for a team that's lacking stars, that's lacking playmakers, that's lacking building blocks for the future, to see a blue chip prospect like Marvin Harrison Jr. come from dominate college for 2 straight years. We all know who his dad is, Hall of Famer, obviously. But I think this pick just kind of says we just want to get a good team. I know two good quarterbacks are sitting here, but we could still be bad next year. I'm sorry. There we go. We could still be bad next year. Get a quarterback next year and have this superstar wideout sitting there waiting for him. My pick until Thursday night. This is my pick forever for the New England Patriots. Marvin Harrison Jr.
DA Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Patriots at number 3. What do you think?
I think the question isn't if Harrison is going to be good. He looks great. He's a fantastic prospect. But if you're looking at the quarterbacks and you feel like there's legitimate questions there, do you try to move down to Giants at 6? Do you try to take the big offer from the Vikings at 11 or something like that and see if you can put together Brian Thomas Jr. and Michael Penix, or maybe you can move 2 picks back up and try to snag a Odunze or something like that, but also keep stocking out what isn't a particularly frightening roster to any of their AFC East rivals, right? There's a lot of work still to do. So it's just kind of that question, right? What's the best way to build your roster? Do you start with a guy that maybe out of anyone in this class, maybe anyone other than Williams, but I think you could make the case for him even over Williams, has the best chance to be a superstar? Do you go get that one guy, or do you try to spread the wealth around and get 2 or 3? And I don't know that there's any one right answer. It kind of depends on the team philosophy. But if you choose to go for that one guy, man, Harrison feels unassailable.
Yeah, so during the draft, another cool thing we'll be doing on the draft party, 4:30 YouTube live stream. One of the things we'll be doing is looking back at our mock draft picks. As the pick is taken, we're going to have a little accountability here, and we're going to be taking a look back at who we picked at those picks. And I'll tell you what, Angel has been consistent. Marvin Harrison to the Patriots. He's stood on that platform for a while, and props to you. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Marvin Harrison, I think, is a good pick in this sense. If you don't believe in these quarterbacks, then yeah, definitely don't waste this number 3 overall pick on them. And it seems like maybe the final straw before getting your franchise quarterback is getting him an elite weapon. So maybe this is the year you make that step. You get the elite weapon for the future franchise quarterback. I think, honestly, with some of the moves that are being made that we'll talk about throughout this draft, I think teams are already looking forward to next year. I think if people are looking at Sanders and a host of different other guys that may be available at the top of the draft again and saying, okay, we're going to miss out on maybe the 2 or 3 guys we have pegged for this draft. Let's start looking at that draft and get ready for that guy. I think that's what Marvin Harrison is here. Angel, you have the 3rd pick as well. What's happening?
The 4th pick. I will.
4th pick. Sorry, yeah.
Most obvious trade in the whole world. I'm saying do it. The Minnesota Vikings trade up to number 4, giving up 11, 23, and a future first. So now it's the Minnesota Vikings on the clock right now. And with that pick, and in 2024 NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings select JJ McCarthy, quarterback, Michigan. There's ever a spot for a quarterback who thrives off of environment with playmakers and good offensive line and a good play caller is JJ McCarthy. What's he going to there? A good play caller, playmaker, and a good offensive line. Yeah. It's literally the best case scenario for a quarterback to go in the top 5. Well, second, Chicago's pretty tough, but this is a nice place for a rookie quarterback because he has Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. Then he has a play caller last year, head coach, who made Joshua Dobbs a thing. So I think him going there and being able to be almost baby stepped into the process of being a franchise quarterback this year, just managed to get, just kind of play point guard for all those playmakers, and then sign Justin Jefferson long term because obviously you draft quarterback this year. But I think I pick him over Drake Maye just because he has the winning pedigree. And with a team like that, I just want a winner. Like, just can you win? Because I don't want to mess up this talented roster with someone who I don't know can win. JJ McCarthy, for all his faults for not throwing the ball as much, he's accurate, he's smart, and he's willing to be coached, which is all that I'm blanking on that Vikings head coach name.
Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell. That's all Kevin O'Connell wanted from any quarterback that's worked for him. It's just a coachable quarterback, and that's exactly what he is. And he's my 3rd best quarterback prospect in this whole draft, and he goes to the Vikings.
So let's outline this trade just so people are aware of what just happened. The Arizona Cardinals, right, traded back with the Minnesota Vikings for the 11th overall pick, the 23rd overall pick in this year's first round and next year's first round. Terrell, I go to you. You like Jayden Daniels to the Commanders. Do you have those fuzzy feelings about JJ McCarthy to the Vikings?
JJ McCarthy, I think he'll make a splash early on, but he can be a quarterback that maybe that sophomore slump might get to him.
Nope. But
also he has a ton of weapons around him. So I think he has more upside than downside. So I like him there. Going to Minnesota. I think it's a smart pick. And Kevin O'Connell, he's done wonders with quarterbacks. So I like him there.
Yeah, I like the marriage too of quarterback coach here, and that's really seems what the NFL seems to be about. The quarterback coach relationship. You go as far as those two can take you. For this next pick, I think we have another trade. I'm going to kick it to David Adams to break it down for us because he has the pick.
With the 5th overall pick, starts with the Los Angeles Chargers. We know that they're looking to try to trade down. New York was kicking around, moving up a spot, but ultimately the Chargers are going to move down to 13 with the in-division Las Vegas Raiders.
Woo!
Raiders are going to come up. I don't think they would do this with McCarthy on the board, or at least the cost wouldn't be as high. But with Drake Maye on the board, they're going to send the 13th pick, their first rounder this year. They're going to send this year's second, and they're going to send next year's first as well. So pretty similar to what it took to get up to 4, except an early second as opposed to that 23rd pick that the Vikings got. So the Raiders coming up from 13 up to 5, and they are going to select Drake Maye, quarterback, North Carolina.
Wow.
And this is one, right, that there's some questions about Drake Maye. He was considered to be a really high prospect, still probably is number 2 on some teams' boards. Yeah. There's a little bit of a concern about accuracy. He's certainly got the arm talent, but it doesn't always show up. Sometimes he's a little bit wobbly on some throws that you just kind of want to assume, hey, just put it right there in the receiver's hands. But he's got some creation. He's got some physical tools. He's got a good arm. He hasn't had the kind of infrastructure around him that McCarthy and Daniels have. Obviously, both of their infrastructures looked a lot different. You've got this very run-heavy, defense-heavy Michigan team. You've got Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr. at LSU. Right. But no matter how you slice it, still better environments to be in. But I think Maye's got the talent. And if nothing else, right, the Raiders are looking for an upgrade. You don't want to go into the season with Aiden O'Connell. I like Gardner Minshew, but not as my franchise guy. Right. And this is an opportunity for them. And, this might blow up in the Chargers' face, right? They might have to play if Maye hits his upside, top 10 quarterback in the NFL twice a year, right? As long as he's there in Vegas. But just not the value there for him to stick and pick a receiver. They're at 5, and so ultimately they trade out.
Tell you what. Hold on. If he goes to the Raiders, what a culture shock that this young man's in for. He does not reach me as a Raiders quarterback. This kid's gonna be like, what's happening? Why is Max Crosby smoking a cigar in the corner? Like, what? That's the one thing. But yeah, this good pick. Raiders move up. Obviously, AFC West getting stacked. You gotta face the big dog, Patrick Mahomes. So you gotta take shots here. And the Raiders are in a mode where they think maybe they are in a playoff contention. So why not take the big swing on a prospect that was at one point the best prospect last year? It's fallen down because of whatever reasons. But yeah, I love this pick actually.
I think you're thinking about the Oakland Raiders. This is the new Las Vegas Raiders. They're hosting fancy dinners at nice restaurants there on rooftop casinos in Las Vegas. But no, I think Drake Maye to the Raiders is interesting because we've heard so many rumors about the Raiders are interested to trade up. They're a sleeper to trade up. I haven't seen a lot of mock drafts who have actually done it and done the deal where the Raiders come up and get their guy. And they come up and get Drake Maye. I think it's a underrated landing spot for him. I don't love the offensive line. I don't think any of us do. You love the weapons. Jacoby Myers is, I think, one of the more underrated 2s. I love Devonta Adams. I think everyone does. They do lose Josh Jacobs, but he was a little bit more name than production last year. I think they might give it a go with Zamir White or get a rookie, someone like that. But you love the vibes of this team. You love the feeling of this team. You love the leadership up top with Antonio Pierce. Some do, some don't. But a lot, the locker room at least loves that. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of split on the pick. I'm split on the fit. Terrell, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting pick, as Angel said. He's a little bit different for the Raiders. It's also interesting with them having Gardner Minshew there too as well. So it's a little different, him coming and being the backup, probably right away, or maybe Drake Maye sits a little bit behind Minshew, and they give him time to develop there. That might be something they could do.
Yeah.
So I think it's an interesting pick too. Interesting move for the Chargers to go within the division to make a trade. That's especially the AFC West. Everybody hates each other. So
Harbaugh has done some interesting things so far, and so this would just get in line with the fun things he's done to trade that pick and end up being a franchise quarterback for a division rival. That would be right up there with the Harbaughisms we've seen so far. Let's keep this moving here. I have the Giants with the 6th pick. They're going to keep that pick. They stopped getting phone calls as soon as Drake Maye goes off the board, and I think they take the best receiver left. That is Malik Nabers. We mentioned Mario a couple times here. Wide receiver out of LSU. A lot of people view this guy as wide receiver 1B. I think we haven't heard very much negative about him. Has elite speed. We heard a little bit of diva rumors. Guess what? He's a wide receiver. He was a star in college. He's going to be a star in the NFL, and he's going to keep being a diva. That's just the name of the game. This guy, elite production, elite profile as far as physically, and he's built like a number one, both mentally and physically. I think a slam dunk pick here for a team that has really struggled to fill that role since OBJ. They tried with Jalen Hyatt. They've tried with a handful of other guys. I think Sterling Sharp's still around. Darren Wall. Sterling Sharp. He's not around. Sterling Shepard's still around. And Darren Waller is kind of looking really iffy right now. And so I think they say, let's put this to bed. I'm not sure the owner wants to move off of Daniel Jones as much as the coaching staff does. And I think they go Malik Nabers here at number 6, right? Ainge, what do you think? Malik Nabers, number 6 in the Giants.
Yeah, they've been looking for a playmaker at number 1 wideout since OBJ. They've tried the by committee effort, and that really hasn't worked. They tried to bring in Darren Waller, but he's injury prone and he's not sure if he wants to play anymore. I think this solidifies that area of need as best as you can. Some people have Nabers over Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's so explosive. He's so good. He's so good after the catch. This is a slam dunk pick, and I think if this happens, and also, if Drake Maye's already off the board, the calls slow down very, very, very aggressively here. And they just say, best player on the board, best need, Nabers, slam dunk pick.
I will say before we move on here, Angie, you have the next pick, but I do think the tackle Joe Alt is in consideration here. And the only problem with that is that I believe Andrew Thomas already plays the left side. Joe Alt plays the left side. They might not want to risk moving someone over to the right-hand side. And so maybe they pass on him for that reason. Angel, you have the 7th pick. Take it away.
With the 7th pick, the Tennessee Titans select Joe Alt, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. The clear and obvious choice here. Probably the most boring pick in all mock drafts ever is Joe Alt to the Titans because it's like a need. It's an overwhelming need for a team that needs a star left tackle. They last year first round draft pick Peter Skoronski. They just paid Lloyd Cushenberry, center now. They're starting to build a O-line for second-year quarterback Will Levis. I think this is just you got built from the ground up, easy pick, run it in, and you feel great. I think also if the quarterbacks come this far to 7 in like the real draft, this might be a trade back situation. But because of the way this mock worked out, I think they just stick and pick. Joe Alt, easy, run it in, left tackle for the next 10 years.
Joe Alt to the Titans is, I guess you could joke around it's boring. It is, but it's a great fit. And it's a even better fit as far as the roster construction. Peter Skoronski next to Joe Alt, like you said, for the next 10 to 15 years. This team wants to be built well. I think they were not happy with the way Vrabel had built the team for whatever reason. They're successful with Coach Vrabel. We have our thoughts on that. But you could tell they want to do things a little differently here. And I think starting with the O-line, we've seen that's what they want to do. Bronco fans, Angel and Terrell, have both brought up Lloyd Cushenberry more than I've ever heard his name in my entire fandom. But yeah, he's a solid center who they brought in to give stability to this line. And I think Joe Alt is a is a super, super solid pick for this team. David Adams, any thought on Joe Alt to the Titans?
I think exactly what you just said. They're trying to build it out the right sort of way. Is Levis the guy? Maybe, maybe not. But if you want to find out, you want a good line in front of him. You want good weapons around him. Yeah. That's what they've tried to do this offseason. I think they're moving in the right sort of direction. Now it's going to be up to the actual guys on the roster to prove that they've made the right call with them.
Right. And they have it set up for, Will Levis is the right guy. And it's a great spot next year if he's not, for whoever is next. Terrell, you have the next pick. Take it away.
With the 8th pick in the draft, the Atlanta Falcons take Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. I mean, this is a no-brainer pick here for the Falcons, for definitely what they need in the bottom, part of the league, out of the top 20 as far as sacks goes. So they need a guy to come off the edge to provide that speed and power for them. He's got that player comp of Brian Burns. Now he's out of the NFC South. This could be, Dallas Turner's division to wreak havoc in. So, I like him for Atlanta coming off the edge. I think Ricky Morris is going to love having him, on the defense. So that's my pick. We're the 8th pick. I like Dallas Turner there.
What's interesting about this Falcons pick, them here at number 8, is that it's the first team that has realistic Super Bowl aspirations. As far as in the draft picking so far, they are in a super win now mode. You can have your argument about the Raiders as well. I know Raider fans would, but realistically, the Falcons they're signing Kirk Cousins to have a 4-year Super Bowl window, and it's win right now, and that's what it's all about. That's been true in the way they've conducted themselves during free agency with the just stacking on stacking on stacking of weapons. And now I think they want a pass rusher who can influence games late in the game right away in the biggest of moments. And that is, they believe in this draft, Dallas Turner. Of course, a lot of people like Jared Verse, which is a great pass rusher as well, different kind of pass rusher. And so I think pass rusher is the most common move here. I love the pick, Dallas Turner. Angel, what do you think?
Yeah, Dallas Turner. I think if you're at this point where you're trying to decide between Jared Verse and Dallas Turner, I'm a big Verse guy, but I think you just shoot for upside. And I think Dallas Turner physically is so gifted that if you could just hone him right, get him in the right type of environment, sky's the limit. And I think for a team that lacks pass rush production, it's him or Verse. I think you can't go wrong with either one, but Dallas Turner obviously has that tremendous upside, tremendous physical attributes that obviously add to that. So yeah, this is a solid pick, and Falcons are very happy with this pick too.
David Adams has one of the most fun picks, picks I'm looking forward to the most in this top 10. That is Bears picking for the second time here at number 9. David Adams, take it away.
With the 9th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, wide receiver for Washington. And this is just loading up with weapons. We hear, hey, defense wins championships. There's definitely still a level of that. Good defenses absolutely rise to the top, but it's really hard to do it without a quality offense as well. Keenan Allen, obviously a fantastic player. He's had a great career. He's getting closer to the end of it. He's still got some productive years left. Yeah, but you're not planning on him being an alpha receiver for the next 5 years. So you need to start looking for the future. You're looking for people to build around Caleb Williams. And so they're just doubling down. I think I saw that Caleb Williams was tweeting about being on the same flight as Odunze earlier today. Yep. So I don't know if Poles has been feeding him some hints about what's going on there or what's in the works. Yep. And certainly no one would be shocked to see Odunze go before this. I don't think that he'd be considered a faller in the draft just by getting down to 9. But they're certainly happy to still see him here, right? They're excited. Those quarterbacks early, Alton Turner going off the board, Nabers going at number 2. I think a lot of people would have Odunze pretty close to those top 2 guys. And just loading up on offense. It's the time is now. If you're Chicago, may as well go for it.
Yeah, I've seen that mocked a couple of times where Odunze goes before Nabers. So don't be surprised if that's what happens. Here in this one, we have Odunze lasting to the 9th, going to the Bears, and you talk about landing spots, which has kind of been what we've talked about a lot already in this show. But the Bears have created an alt after totally screwing over Justin Fields for 4 straight years, 4 straight
Poor
coaches,
Justin.
4 straight offenses. At one point, throwing to some 25-year-old rookie and, my second cousin. Now this guy gets Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, the whole stable of running backs, a solid offense line, and a defense that was one of the best defenses in the NFL down the stretch last year. I mean, this is quite the landing spot. And what I love about DA's point is that Keenan Allen is a guy you want in place to help a rookie quarterback. He's not a guy they're going to be relying on in the 3rd year of Caleb Williams' contract, in the 4th, 5th year, when he's kind of hopefully taking over the league. They are drafting Caleb Williams to open up a championship window that they're hoping to last the next 10 years. So you want young, or at least guys young enough to grow with Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze to grow with him, one of the toughest wide receiver cores in the league right away, and just sexy things happening in Chicago. I love this pick. I love this fit. Terrell, let's get your word real quick on Odunze to the Bears. We'll move on to the next pick.
I mean, this is a great move for the Bears. I mean, I think outside of maybe Joe Burrow, going with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, has there been a number 1 pick just set up for success just right away? I mean, Joe Burrow got hurt, in his rookie year, but I mean, he's coming in right away to a loaded receiving core. I mean, the Bears are already, he's already going to put up a lot of, they're going to put a lot of yards, put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
So the Bears set up for success. This is an amazing move by the Bears.
All right, I'm going to top off the top 10 here. New York Jets in this draft will take tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. I did not do that the way ESPN does it. Sorry about that, guys. But they're going to take Brock Bowers. They're going to take the tight end here, another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And here we go, another team with championship aspirations, looking for a weapon right away. Now, this is a team that is not so set up like as strongly as the Bears or even as the Titans. They have some real holes on this offense. Weapons behind Garrett Wilson, questionable. The tackle spots last year, ultra questionable. Ask Breece Hall about that. I mean, real problems here. They're hoping the veteran quarterback can cover a lot of those deficiencies. But I think landing a second weapon or maybe a third, we'll see how these other guys pan out with a real quarterback back there. Shout out to new Broncos quarterback Zach Wilson. But with Brock Bowers there at tight end for the Jets, DA, what do you think? Bowers in New York.
I think this is a good fit. It's one of those things that he is the most hyped tight end prospect since Pitts, and really has to be one of the most hyped of the 21st century. Since Pitts feels a lot different 3 seasons in than it did 1 season in, right? Like he started on fire, and since then it's gotten shakier from there. But a lot of that feels like the Atlanta offense. So you're going to have a quarterback that's going to be airing it out. You've got Wilson that's just an all-round guy. You've got Mike Williams that, when healthy, with a huge asterisk next to that,
right,
is a really good boundary guy, really good deep threat, just big-bodied receiver. And so then you've got Bowers giving you yak from that tight end position, which we're seeing more and more kind of coming into vogue in the league. You've got your Kittle types, your Laporta types that aren't just catch it and fall down, but can create something on their own. Bowers is certainly this kind of guy, and it's going to be exciting to see what Rodgers can do with him.
Yeah. Terrell, I want you to, so I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm going to make myself look like a fool here and see if I can remember, but I think it's the stat was the last 9 tight ends taken in the first round. There's been 1,000-yard receiver. I think no pro bowlers, no all pros, something crazy like that. Not a great track record for tight ends. And yet I took Brock Bowers here. Do you think I made a mistake?
I mean, I think you're just doing what the Jets do. I mean, this is a total Jets move. Just go with hey, this guy, he's really good. Let's take him. Instead of addressing what we really need is that offensive line that got our quarterback taken out in 4 plays. So, I think the expectations for the Jets, I think, are too lofty. He's 40 years old, right? I mean, coming off an Achilles injury. This is, that's a huge injury to your quarterback. Again, 40 years old is already hard enough to move around. Now you're talking about it coming off an injury. That's really big. I think they need to shore up the offensive line, but the Jets are doing what the Jets can do. They're going to take the tight end.
Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith. Now the guys they rely on there at tackle. Tyron Smith is on. I'm not sure who's more likely to stay healthy, him or Mike Williams. I definitely considered a tackle here. But since they made the move, I'm guessing that they are gonna go with Tyron Smith plus a host of other guys and kind of just patch it up. We'll see how it goes. Terrell, you have the next pick. Take it away.
With the 11th pick in the draft, the Arizona Cardinals, from the trade from the Vikings, they're going to select Jared Verse. This is Angels guy. I really like him. I think he can be, the next Michael Parsons. I think he's gonna make a huge splash there with the Cardinals. He's someone they need. I mean, they were 30th last year in sacks. So he's going to be he's going to be the power and speed they need off the edge. So this is a good pick for the Cardinals. The Cardinals, they're starting to make a slow bounce back, but I think he's a good cornerstone piece for them in their resurgence, their rebuild. So I like Jared Bird.
Yeah, Cardinals jumped around, of course, last draft. They're already jumping around here, trading back. Last year worked out. They traded back, still landed Paris Johnson, the tackle of the future there. Let's see if it works out again. Trading back, taking Jared Verse. David Adams, what do you think? Jared Verse, would you rather have seen maybe a tackle or another receiver or one of the quarterbacks? What do you think about the pick?
I think Arizona has enough needs that it's hard to pick a wrong position here. So you just want guys that can come in and can help set the tone, can help turn a team around. You've already got a quarterback in Kyler who's at least, maybe he's not like that very top tier of franchise guy, but you're not scrambling that you have to find that guy this year.
Yeah.
You've already gotten some playmakers, right? Trey McBride, right, looked good last year and stuff like that.
Right.
So they really do need some more offensive weapons for sure. But if the value is just too good to pass up, trading out a 4, by the time it gets here to 11, there's no Marvin Harrison Jr., there's no Malik Nabers, there's no Rome Odunze.
Right.
So this is the guy, right? So you go to maybe another position, you try to find a playmaker somewhere else or something like that.
Yeah.
Jared Verse is great. He's very strong. He's got good athleticism as well. He's been productive. He was productive at Albany. He transferred to Florida State. He was productive at Florida State. He's a hard worker. He's a good team guy. And I think this is a great pick for him.
Let's move on here to the next pick. I believe you have a move with this pick. Angel, take it away.
Yes, Terrell had this pick originally with the Denver Broncos. I feel like, I won't speak for Terrell, but just as an outsider, if you were to move back here, that's because the Drake Mays and the JJ McCarthy didn't fall. You feel like you can take a Penix or a Bo Nix later on, risk it, right, and start collecting assets here. And so the trade was the Cardinals trade the 23rd pick that they acquired from the Vikings. And they have their original 27th pick last year that they got from the Houston Texans. They pair those to move up to number 12. And at number 12, they select Taliese Fuaga, offensive tackle, Oregon State. One of the first reasons why you do this is because at 13 and at 14, Chargers Saints, both places need tackles. So I think if you're trying to get into the non-Joe Alt tier of tackles, this is where you have to pee because you already know Chargers and Saints are looking into all tackles. You want to pick up whoever your top guy is. And at this point, it's Fuaga, versatile, athletic, huge left tackle, cornerstone. I think if the Cardinals were to come out of this draft with Jared Verse and Fuaga, that's a slam dunk. That's a slam dunk draft. They run this in because this is exactly how you want to build your team. It's from the ground up. You've got your edge rusher, inverse. Now you have Fuaga, left tackle. Chef's kiss. I love this pick.
On benchshow.com, go check it out. David Adams has an article right now up of his big board. DA, you have Olu Fashanu above Fuaga. Fuaga goes here. What do you think of the pick?
I think this is good. Angel was talking about Fuaga's left tackle ability, and he's definitely got that. He's also pretty comfortable at right tackle. So after trading up from 12 to 6, they moved down from 3 to 12, back up 12 to 6 last year to get Paris Johnson Jr. Now you've kind of got those bookend tackles on either side, just trying to give Kyler as much time as possible. He can scramble when he has the time, right? But you don't really want him having to make every play in a crumbling pocket. So I think Fuaga's a good pick here. Fashanu maybe has a little bit more upside, some would say, but he does profile more just as that left tackle. So if you're a team that already has someone that you at least want to give that shot in Paris Johnson, or you want to be able to play around with it more, you don't want a guy like Fashanu that's maybe a little bit more pigeonholed. So I think Fuaga makes sense here. To be completely honest, with the 13th pick, I was really hoping Fuaga would get there because he's got that ability to play on either side. And so I think this fits really nicely for the Cardinals. They've got an early second. You got to think they're looking receiver with that, especially with Hollywood out the door. It's Michael Wilson and not much else at receiver. Little Greg Dortch, something in there. But
Greg Dortch,
respect the Dortch.
Yeah, but
Fantasy
even last year, it wasn't like the receiver room was great, and they've lost Hollywood and Rondale since then. So early second, but the way that this draft broke, there's still going to be some good options there. But versus Fuaga, great back-to-back, strengthen those lines, build from the lines, and that's how to do it.
We haven't gotten into player comps like that much this year, but every time I see Fuaga and you see him play and you see him move and you see what he can do in the versatility on that O-line, you got to think Elijah Vera Tucker of the Jets, and exactly who we thought he was. It's who he's been as a pro, just putting out fires all over that Jets line. Fuaga hopefully not asked to do as much as Tucker's been asked to do, but that same kind of ability, and that's why I do like the pick as well, just the versatility. Where does he fit? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll find a place for him, and wherever we stick him, he's going to be really, really good there. Let's keep it moving here. I think, David, you have the next pick. Take it away.
With the 13th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Troy Fautanu, offensive lineman from Washington. After having traded down from 5, they get someone who is close to the very top of the offensive linemen in this draft. If you're purely looking for a left tackle prospect, Alt's probably better, but you've already got Rashawn Slater there, so you can, play around a little bit more with the offensive line. You move down, you pick up a second this year, a first next year, and Fautanu, still a really high-level prospect. Everything that Harbaugh has been saying, the people they've been signing, the coach he brought in Greg Roman, they want to be able to run the ball. Herbert is amazing. I think that they're avoiding a little bit, maybe building that kind of pass-happy offense, but we're just trying to read the tea leaves of what they're signaling that they're going to do. And so it feels like they want to build that offensive line. They want to be able to run and protect Herbert, and so Fautanu is the choice here.
Yeah, when a team or a franchise tells you over and over again who they want to be, eventually you just got to believe them. They had all their moves this year have made sense in what they say they want to do. There hasn't been a lot of trickery. There hasn't been a lot of, maneuvering so far as like saying they want to do one thing and making moves that don't fit in with that. They want to be a team that's going to run the ball, tough between the tackles. They brought in Gus Edwards, right, who's known for one thing, and that's not pass catching. That is running between the tackles. I think they're going to stack this O-line and just keep running the ball. And Justin Herbert's going to have a little less, I think, on his plate and be more of a play-action quarterback rather than that drop back many times during the game. I don't know if I love that. I'm kind of interested to see how it works out. But I think Harbaugh's saying what a lot of people are saying. Work to Michigan.
Hey,
see what happens.
If not broke, they just got J.K. Dobbins, and obvious, like, get a bunch of running backs, build that offensive line, let Herbert play action. Solid pick, great pick actually.
I'll keep it moving here, and with the 14th pick in the NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints to select Olu Fashanu, offensive tackle, Penn State. Of course, we've mentioned this guy a couple times already. Like David Adams said, I do like the upside of Fashanu. I think they are thrilled that Fashanu somehow lasted through an offensive tackle run and had landed there on the Saints, a team that is facing a really, really tough situation there at their left tackle position, with Ramczyk not being able maybe to play the entire year. They say, no problem, we'll stick in Olu Fashanu here and have our franchise guy, and we'll kind of see what happens with Ramczyk. But I like the pick here. I think Saints need so many things, but I think they're thrilled to get a left tackle prospect like him. Angel, I know you've been on Olu a lot, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the Saints, the bust that is Trevor Penning at left tackle, just you got to kick him out the door. He's just not good. Ramczyk, you don't know. You get the best available lineman, and this is it. This is and this would start the run of these. There's about four or five, if you want to throw in someone else in there, of these elite tier tackles. And this is kind of like one of the four here. I think the Saints run this pick. Also, it gives them some kind of youth on that O-line. Right now, they have a lot of guys who kind of been there, done that. Eric McCoy, center. He's the only guy who I would hold over into this next year. So this would start the rebuilding process on the offensive line. So love the pick.
So the fourth tackle taken in the top 14 picks. Tackle is a position that we all believe is very, very deep. Let's keep this moving now. Angel, you have the Colts at number 15. Go ahead.
Yes, with the 15th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback, Toledo. The pairing of Quinyon Mitchell and Kenny Moore is a tough, gritty secondary. I think that whole defense, it's kind of a no-name defense. He adds to it where he didn't come from Alabama or from Clemson or from one of these big schools. Okay, he came from Toledo, but the tape doesn't lie. He plays phenomenal. He's good against the run. And then Senior Bowl, he just showed out in a place where a bunch of those guys are in this draft, and they went to these big schools. And this is my top corner here. I think he goes to a spot where they need him the most, where they need a perimeter corner so bad, and youth there too. So I think that builds the secondary up. That builds his defense up to where it was underrated last year, and I think now people are going to start to realize the Colts build something special here defensively.
Quinyon Mitchell, maybe more than anyone else taken in this first round, has made himself millions on millions in this evaluation prospect, from a prospect that was a borderline first round pick, more of a second round pick, to someone who now people believe is the top cornerback in this draft, myself included. When we were doing this draft in the group chat, I was texting, hey, Eagles would love to trade up. Eagles would really love to trade up here. I think there's going to be some teams scratching and clawing to get in a position to draft Quinyon Mitchell. I think he's been that impressive. I think as these coaches have watched them play, there's a reason that we've heard the Schefters, the Rappaports of the world say, hey, this guy's flying up the boards. I think that's because coaches are talking about him, because scouts are talking about him, and I think he's going to be a great pro. I think he's going to be maybe the biggest surprise that we're going to see coming out of this draft. Terrell has some fireworks for us. Terrell, I'm going to let you take it away.
With the 16th pick in the NFL Draft, we have a trade here. We got the Buffalo Bills.
Woo!
You know me, I had them last draft trading all the way up to 5. I got them trading up now from 28 to 16 with the Seahawks. And the Bills, they're going to take their receiver here. It's going to be Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. I mean, look, it's no secret. The Bills need to fill the hole there at wide receiver, losing Gabe Davis, losing Stephon Diggs. They've got to bolster that receiving core. This guy, he's special. I mean, he's great in open space. He can fly down the field. He's got good, ball tracking skills too as well. I mean, just looking at some of his tape. No Diddy there, the ball tracking. But so no he's great. I mean, he's great up the field. I mean, look, I think he's gonna, with Josh Allen, he's gonna make a splash, much like Justin Jefferson did with Kirk Cousins. I mean, this guy, he's gonna have a phenomenal rookie season. He's gonna come out of the gate. So he's gonna be a good pick there for Buffalo. I like them not giving up too much, trying to get up to 5, playing it safe, going up to 16, getting Brian Thomas there.
Yeah, and this would obviously solve that problem instantly. Obviously, Stephon Diggs moves on. I think this also allows the Bills to reset as far as, okay, we have this Josh Allen quarterback who's getting paid north of $50 million a year. Now we have to start acquiring these young first-round talents who aren't getting paid much. And also, this is a great fit. He's a down-the-field wide receiver and goes to a quarterback who wants to throw down the field. I think last year LSU 17 touchdowns here. So a touchdown maker on a team that needs this kind of replacement for Stephon Diggs. I'm not saying he is Diggs, but this is a great dart throw to replace that sort of Diggs production.
David, Brian Thomas is your 4th ranked receiver on your big board. You have him as a solid first rounder. You're one of the first guys who kind of sold me on Brian Thomas and his future in the NFL. What do you think of him as the number one now for Josh Allen on a team that's going to be playing a lot of big games there with Josh Allen?
Well, let me take a step back. I really enjoyed listening to the mock draft 2.0 because that massive Bills move up for Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Man, it's hard to get spicier than that. So I went back and I looked at the last 4 years in the first round, what kind of trades, right? Like who is traded into the top 10, who's traded up over 10 spots. In the last 4 years, the furthest down that someone has been before trading into the top 10 has been 12. It's really hard to get up into the top 10 from further down than that. There were a couple that were close. Chicago moved from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields. New Orleans moved from 16 to 11 to get Chris Olave. It's really hard to get up that high. In fact, there's only been 5 trades in the last 4 years that have moved up over 10 spots in the first, and 3 of those were centered around players. You had the Orlando Brown, you had the Hollywood Brown, you had the A.J. Brown trade. So moral of the story, if you're not trading someone whose last name is Brown, it's really hard to move up more than 10 spots, right? So you had Detroit moving up for Jameson Williams, and you had Los Angeles moving up for Kenneth Murray. The Murray one has not worked out. Jameson, I guess the jury's still out, right? Sort of thing. It's really hard to make that kind of jump. And that's only the last 4 years. Almost like Julio is kind of that precedent for that really big swing. All that to say, Buffalo is probably going to struggle to get up to the big 3, right? Like the big 3 receivers, those guys feel like they're not getting outside of the top 10.
Yeah.
So Thomas is someone who fits. He's someone who takes advantage of Josh Allen's field stretching abilities. He's someone who's got a lot of upside and a lot of production. And so this feels like the guy that you're looking at. You're targeting maybe, either him or Adonai Mitchell. You work the phones, you figure out where you can get into range of one of those guys. And I think this is a really good fit for Buffalo. They got to cash out, right? They're sending their second this year, but they're not touching future draft capital. And that's good. They've got to rebuild that defense a little bit, got a little bit old, and a little bit of a new era coming for that side of the ball. But being able to have someone on offense, you got Kincaid and James Cook working underneath. You need someone downfield. I think Brian Thomas makes sense for him.
I think of this next iteration of the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, Brian Thomas Jr., if he's taken here and he's the guy next, might be the most important piece to them not missing a step and continuing the success they've enjoyed. But if they struggle to find this number one, if they struggle to find a receiver to replace Stephon Diggs, that might be the end of Josh Allen's Super Bowl window. That's how important this pick is. That's how important it is they are able to successfully replace the Stephon Diggs. Terrell.
I will say, be on the lookout. If Brian Robinson is not there for them, be on the lookout for the Bills maybe to make a move, like trading for a receiver.
Yeah.
Courtland Sutton, his name is out there for the Broncos.
Yeah.
I could see them making a move for him.
I like it.
In the long run.
I like it. So we have Brian Thomas going to the Bills. Terrell, once again, gets the Bills receiver. He seems a little bit like he might have Josh Allen on his fantasy teams. Let's keep moving here. David Adams, you have the Jaguars. Take it away.
With the 17th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Terrion Arnold, cornerback, Alabama. Home run pick for him with only 2 defensive players going in the first 14 picks. A lot of that defensive talent sliding down the board. It really was going to come down to corner or receiver. Thomas goes the pick before them. Quinyon Mitchell goes the pick before that. Hey, that makes it easy, right? They know where they're going with this. Jacksonville, they're under pressure. They have turned from Trevor Lawrence is going to be this next the guy, and I still think he's really good. I'm more of a believer than a skeptic, but he hasn't solidified himself even in the Herbert tier, much less like the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes kind of tier.
Yeah.
All right, he has a rough rookie year under Urban Meyer. You get Peterson in there, you win a playoff game in part because of the Chargers collapse. It kind of stagnated last year, and even worse than that for them, man, Houston hit the rocket fuel, right? They got CJ Stroud, they got Will Anderson. Their entire franchise trajectory looks completely different.
New uniforms.
So Jacksonville has a lot of pressure on them. Even if it's not like a coach on the hot seat, even if it's not Lawrence is going to get kicked to the curb if he doesn't produce. I don't think either of those things would happen with a bad year. But low-key, they really need to nail this. So they're really happy. Position of need, talented player. not a full-on faller. You're probably not getting any cutaway shots to, him in the green room. Like, why hasn't Terrion Arnold gotten picked yet? But if he got past this, I think you'd start to get this. This is good value for him. They're excited, and they need him to hit the ground running.
To that point, I'll reference your big board again, and I can't stress enough. If you want to follow along this first round, and you're maybe not so familiar with the players past the top 10, I urge you go to bench.com, look up this big board that DA put together. You have Terrion Arnold in the third section of your big board. You have freaky franchise prospects. Just 2 up there, a handful in the franchise prospects, and Terrion Arnold as the first member of a tier that you named super starters. Now, I say all that to say, are the Jaguars ecstatic that he's available and the first of the super starters at 17? I think this is a great value.
Absolutely. And even that big board is put together, right? Because, hey, maybe you go to whatever other media site and you get one person's take on it, but being able to just combine it, just get the average, get the consensus. Yeah. So all that to say, Arnold is someone that a lot of people like. A lot of people view him highly. I think Jacksonville is going to be among them. And I think they're going to need it, right? It's a division where you've got Stroud, feels like one of the guys, right, that's coming down the road challenging Mahomes. Sure. Houston seems to view him that way. Anthony Richardson looked pretty good last year before he got hurt. Tennessee's giving Will Levis every opportunity to succeed. Man, in your division, you've got Diggs, you've got Collins, you've got Tank Dell, you've got Michael Pittman, you've got Josh Downs, you've got Calvin Ridley, you've got DeAndre Hopkins. Man, you better get some corners out there on the field, right? Yeah. So I think this is something Jacksonville's excited about.
I have the next pick here, the Cincinnati Bengals getting Joe Burrow back. Everyone's really excited about that. And with the, I lost my place, number 18 pick here in the first round, the Cincinnati Bengals select Byron Murphy, defensive tackle out of Texas. So I have the big tackle from Texas going there. Of course, he played with T'Vondre Sweat, who's known more as the pass rusher, right? I think Murphy is more of the fly up the field, shoot the gaps type guy. I think he can kind of fit that role, much more disruptive. I think in the NFL, Byron Murphy will translate as more of the star. I love his game. I love his motor. I love his fit with Cincinnati. I think up front, they want to get strong. They're playing in the AFC North. So I took Murphy there out of Texas to the Bengals. Angel, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is why I mocked him. I mocked him here a lot. Obviously, they allowed DJ Reader. He signed with the Lions. I think this fits a need and also gives them a Reader was good. He wasn't this kind of presence where he was a disruptive force where he caused havoc. You kind of a two gap filler. Murphy kind of fills the quick twitchy, almost Ed Oliver role where he just kind of disrupts. And Oliver is not going to lead the league in sacks anytime soon, but he's a very effective interior rusher. That's who my comp is for him, kind of a twitchy kind of interior lineman. And this would have been Brian Thomas Jr. for me if he hadn't gotten picked. This would be a nice plan B, I guess, if Brian Thomas isn't there and Adonai Mitchell is probably too expensive for him to go here. I think this is a great pick.
Okay, so I have the tackle going to the Bengals. Let's keep this moving here and forge into not quite to the 20s yet. But Angel, you have the Rams at 19.
Yeah, same with the Rams at number 19 in the 2024 NFL Draft. They select Laiatu Latu, edge rusher at UCLA, a skilled pass rusher, technician. I've seen his comps anywhere between TJ Watt. He's just a solid pass rusher who, because of injury, has fallen. I think if he obviously, if he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have got as high as 8. But I think that him falling to the Rams, obviously the Rams lost Aaron Donald. They had a great draft class last year. I think this would add to that young defensive core that they are now building now. Laiatu Latu, instant day one starter. And my sleeper pick / not sleeper pick for defensive rookie of the year, I think he goes there, tears it up because he's just given the starting role right away. He's a proven, polished, efficient pass rusher. When do you find that this late in the NFL draft? All the offensive guys taken early. this is what kind of happens when quarterbacks get taken, wilds get taken, linemen get taken. All these pass rushers who are skilled and honestly, they're cheap assets for these teams. The Rams are paying a lot of guys, and he lands here, day one starter, slam dunk.
Kobe Turner and Byron Young are the guys that the Rams kind of were pleasantly surprised with last year's draft. I think adding Latu to that is a slam dunk. He's one of my favorite players. And I think originally I'd gotten the sense from a lot of people that his size might be an issue, maybe not big enough, maybe not strong enough. He's 265 pounds. That's more than big enough for a defensive end. And with the motor, you see him move. He doesn't move like a guy at 265. He moves like he's about 230. He's so agile, so fast, so quick off the ball. An elite first step. I think him falling down here to the Rams, not only just you have the cool story of him staying in LA, but just the elite young talent to add to those two guys I mentioned. I love Latu to the Rams here. Let's keep this moving. Terrell, you have the Dolphins with the Steelers with the 20th pick. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the 20th pick, the Steelers, they're going to go with Amarius Mims, tackle out of Georgia. I mean, he is, he's the worst kept secret in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's who, the Steelers are expected to go for him. That's the guy they've been targeting this whole time.
Yeah.
They're expecting him to fall there. He's a good fit for him. Huge guy. I mean, 6'8", 340. I mean, he's gigantic. I mean, he's a massive man. He'll be a perfect fit there in Pittsburgh. They're known for having solid offensive line play. So that's the guy they're going to go with. Strengthen the offensive line, continue to pound the ball. To help out their new quarterback tandem. We'll see with Wilson or Fields who's going to be the starter there. But
a lot of people are talking about the Fields and Wilson situation, like you just mentioned. Arthur Smith has one plan to win football games, and that's to run, and to run some more. And so taking a tackle, taking any kind of offensive lineman in this spot, I think is the obvious pick no one's talking about.
This segment is brought to you by Dad Gang Hats. Dad Gang makes the highest quality hats in the apparel industry because they use premium materials, pay close attention to detail, and prioritize durability and comfort. With so many styles, colors, and designs, they absolutely have the right hat for you and the dad in your life. Use code BENCHED76826. That's BENCHD 76826 for 15% off your first purchase. Shop Dad Gang Hats, quality hats for quality dads.
With the 21st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select JC Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. And this is a little bit of an interesting fit for them because a lot of places, if you're kind of reading about like consensus needs and things like that, a little bit more interior offensive line, was really hoping Byron Murphy was going to slip. But, I've seen buzz that he goes as high as 8 to Atlanta the last couple of days. So getting him for Cincinnati definitely made a lot of sense. It would have been maybe not quite a miracle if he got to Miami, but at least pushing it. Latham is pretty much someone who projects as a right tackle. So that is something that the Dolphins really need, right? Tua is a lefty, so this is his blind side. You've got a little bit maybe of a question about if he's ready to be that blindside pass protector. Went back and forth between him and someone with maybe like Graham Barton's versatility. But Miami has to be able to run the ball to set up the rest of what they do. There's a lot of really impressive things about their offense, but Tua doesn't feel like the guy that's just going to be able to put a team on his back for multiple rounds of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're not sure that he can be that guy for one round of the playoffs. Maybe so, right? Sometimes it's just got to all come together for that year. But you can help yourself out by having a guy up front that can help you establish the run with Mostert and Achane, give you the time to hit Tyreek and Waddle, right? Like you've got the weapons there for sure. You've got, according to Arthur Smith, the greatest tight end on the planet in Jonnu Smith. So, just a lot going on that offense. But you're going to have to keep Tua upright. You're going to have to give him, just enough time to get it out. He can get it out fast, but you got to make sure that he's clean as he does. So I think offensive line's the priority with, Fautanu and Fuaga and some of those guys that would maybe be a little bit more versatile, maybe a little cleaner fits. I think just the size, the athleticism, that right side ability of Latham is the direction the Dolphins look.
So JC Latham came in as a 5-star recruit, 14 games as a backup guard, then got kicked out to right tackle, and then finished the last 2 years playing 27 games at right tackle. So very comfortable in that spot. And you said size, 6'6", 340, plenty of size. Plenty of size and size to spare, really. And so they get a right tackle there. Let me keep this moving here with my Philadelphia Eagles here. Howie Roseman sending in the pick. Sent it right through me, actually. And with the 22nd pick, the Philadelphia Eagles take Cooper DeJean, cornerback. Terrell, cornerback, not defensive back. Cornerback out of Iowa. And yes, he's white. And yes, he's plays cornerback. And now he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, all jokes aside, Cooper DeJean, I think he's one of those guys who just has a nose for the ball. Is he going to play cornerback? Is he going to play safety? Honestly, here's where I'm at right now. Yes, he's going to play all of them. He's going to play all over that defensive backfield because he's going to be a piece for defensive coordinator Vic Fangio to stick wherever they need him that week in that particular game plan. I think Cooper DeJean plays all over the field for the Eagles and really gives them some young top end talent in the secondary. And they haven't had that. They've kind of pieced it together. Bradbury had a terrible year after having an all-pro year. Slay is kind of falling off, still pretty good, but I don't know if he's happy in Philly. They have a lot of undrafted type guys behind that. The depth is kind of shaky. Of course, you have Keely Ringo down there. We all know what he is. I think they take a big step into solidifying this defensive backfield by taking Cooper DeJean, cornerback out of Iowa. I don't think I've heard you talk about this yet, David. Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. What do you think about him positionally, and what do you think about his fit in Philadelphia?
I think he's one of those guys that there's enough conversation about, where exactly is he going to play? He's from a college program that really the dominant feature of Iowa football has been their punting the last couple of years. It's not an exciting team if you want points. And so a little bit overshadowed. His measurables are really, really good. Yeah. Honestly, even like I picked Terrion Arnold earlier for Alabama, and Arnold's got very nice testing numbers himself. DeJean isn't like the freak of all freaks, but he's really high up in terms of just overall athleticism. And so I think he's going to have enough that he can at least play out there. Is he going to be the next, absolute shutdown Revis Island type corner? Who knows, right? Do you want to just stick him outside and play him at corner, or do you want to move him around? Who knows? But he can at least hit that threshold of we can play him at corner, we can move him around. He's a starter level for sure. He's a weapon for sure. And I think that it's a good piece for them.
Terrell, you have the next pick. You have your Denver Broncos here at 23 after that trade. Give us your pick.
All right, I got the Broncos all the way down at 23. They got the trade from the Cardinals. They're taking Top Robinson, edge rusher out of Penn State. Listen, this could be a big risk here for the Broncos taking Top Robinson. He has a huge upside, but also, has potential to potentially be a bust. Yeah. But, the upside is, we're talking Myles Garrett comp. We're talking Michael Parsons comp. Look, the Broncos off the edge, we don't have a lot of, we have a lot of consistency off the edge. You got Jonathan Cooper, Baron Browning, guys who've shown some good flashes of skill there, but nothing special ever, not since the departure of Bradley Chubb. So that's something the Broncos are going to need. I think he's a good, pick to take here. He's someone that, you might not want to miss out on. So I like Chop Robinson here to the Broncos at 23.
I think no other person to go to than the other Broncos fan on the set here. Angel, what do you think, Chop Robinson?
Yeah, I think Chop Robinson gives us upside, gives us a little bit more depth at pass rusher. Just like Terrell said, we've had a revolving door about 3 or 4 different kind of pass rushers. I think he gives us another guy just to see if one of these guys pops off. That's all we see. One of these guys here to take that step into stardom, then we'll be geniuses. But until that time, we're going to keep throwing darts at the board. I'm very shocked that this wasn't a Penix, a Bo Nix pick here, but we'll see what happens. I think this is a great pick. I think at this point of the draft too, you're kind of shooting for upside, shooting for physical traits that you can coach into a star or starter in the NFL. So, yeah, I like it.
we're gonna keep this moving because we gotta wrap up this mock draft already. But I don't like this pick, Terrell. I don't like it as a Bronco fan. I'd be so disappointed as a Bronco fan if this is what we had. If this is what you guys ended up with, moving back and then taking Chop Robinson. I would just, to me, very uninspiring. But I mean, it could be what it is, and I think the Broncos may have their eyes on a certain quarterback out of Colorado that might be in the draft next year with the last name Sanders. So I think maybe kicking this can down the road a little bit.
The hint was terrible. You gave him the last name. It might be a certain guy.
Name Sanders. First name rhymes with Lodor.
Yeah. Son of a very popular quarterback. Yeah.
Terrell, go ahead and take that next pick with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, next pick, Dallas Cowboys. They go with the offensive tackle here, taking Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. I think it's a good pick there for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Strengthening up the offensive line there, something that they're definitely going to need there. The offensive line for the Cowboys, good, but I think just bolstering that up a little bit more is something they need there. I mean, he's kind of the best available for them, with that pick there. So
that's so disrespectful.
It's a bad draft if you're looking to shore up your interior defensive line. It is an amazing draft if you're looking to retool the offensive line. If you look, I mean, here's Tyler Guyton way down here at where are we at? Number 24. And there's still great names up there on the board to go still through the rest of this first round into the second round. Tyler Guyton to the Cowboys here as an Eagles fan. Darn it, they got a good one. But, I think it's a very Cowboys thing to do. I think it's almost for sure they're going to get an offensive lineman. Maybe they shock the world, get a quarterback. We'll see. I don't know. Let's keep moving here. DA, you have the Green Bay Packers pick. And as we say that, shout out producer Gabe Tovar. Go ahead.
Yeah.
With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Graham Barton, offensive lineman from Duke. He can play outside. He can play inside. Usually when you think of someone that spent a bit of time at center, you think, hey, maybe they can be a center or a guard. He's played center and tackle. So he can really go all over the line. It's someone that just helps shore it up front. Love feels like the guy. There's enough going on at receiver that you definitely could put another piece into that mix, but you don't have to. Cornerback, right, with DeJean off the board. We've mocked Wiggins there before. If you've got any questions about Wiggins' size, just go grab an offensive lineman. You can never go wrong with bolstering the lines. And this is an offense that could look really exciting. I was thinking about this at pick 9 with Chicago. I don't know exactly how you'd stack it up. If we see this mock play out this way, if we see the real draft play out this way, Minnesota gets the quarterback, Chicago gets a quarterback and a receiver. Is this the most exciting division in the NFL? It would be. It feels like all of the teams, right? Minnesota, you've got a lot of weapons there. Chicago is definitely on the upside. Detroit's really good. Green Bay's really good.
Yeah.
It's a really fun division. And so you got to be able to keep Jordan Love upright, because the one thing that can absolutely torpedo your chances is if your quarterback goes down. So get a lineman, keep him upright, run the ball, give him time to throw, figure out the rest from there.
I like it. I like the addition there to the group of linemen that the Packers already have that is very, very versatile. Zach Tom and amongst others there on that offensive line that could do a number of different things. I think you add Barton to that, and he fits right in with that group there. Let's move along here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at pick 26. I have them, and with the 26th overall pick, the Buccaneers take Darius Robinson, defensive end out of Missouri. Now, I've gotten into Darius Robinson a little bit over the last couple of days. That might be why he was just on my mind to like, hey, I might want to consider Darius Robinson. I like his profile. I like his pass rushing ability. I love his size at defensive end, 6'5". I have him listed here as 296. I think when I think of the Bucs, I think of a big, stout front. I think of a team that's impossible to run the ball on. Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, add Darius Robinson there, continue this size across the front there in the NFC South. And I like him. I think it's a little more of a reach than some people are going to be comfortable with. He's more, I think, for a lot of people in that second round tier. But Darius Robinson to the Bucs. DA, what do you think?
I think, like you mentioned with Vea and Cansey, Cansey a little bit small for a defensive tackle. Darius Robinson kind of big for a DN. Just gives you a lot of ability to interchange. You can kick him inside on clear pass rushing downs, on a run stuffing down. You put this big DN next to Vea, right? I mean, let's go.
Let's do it.
And so it gives you the opportunity to rush the passer, even if it's not the toughest division, right? Like Atlanta looks tricky. The Saints, it feels like they got to ask some hard questions about themselves. We're not really going to talk about Carolina much, but to get wherever you want to go, because this is a team that sees itself as a playoff team because they were last year, right?
Yeah.
To get where you need to go, you got to be able to rush the passer and stop the run, right? And both of those Robinson's going to help with.
One or two elite groups here could win the division. One or two elite position groups on your team could win the whole division. Terrell has more fireworks here because that's just what he does. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
With the 27th pick, again, with the Denver Broncos, I am taking their quarterback, their guy here, big Penix energy, Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Look, he's the guy you take here. There's all this talk about taking Penix, taking Nick, one of the Knicks brothers there at 12. But I like taking them later here in the draft. I think they're gonna, be quarterbacks that aren't gonna be taken off the board. There is a risk potentially. I think maybe you have a surprise team like the Rams, maybe take Nick or Penix, behind Stafford and them taking over in a couple years, but. So there's the talk maybe of them going at 23 for the quarterback, but I like Penix if he's still there, taking him at 27. And then we got a pretty interesting quarterback room with Penix, Wilson, and Stidham. So that's going to be interesting there. He's an accurate quarterback. Interesting fact here that I found him 31 sacks and almost 1,800 dropbacks. The quarterback. He doesn't get sacked a lot, and that's what happened a lot last year with Russell Wilson. So he's a quarterback that Sean Payton's going to love, on time, on rhythm, on schedule. So that's the guy that I like the Broncos to take.
Yeah, let's keep this thing going here. Go the other Broncos fan. Angel, this is your quarterback of the future. What do you think?
Anything but Russell Wilson is an obvious upgrade. Real quick, Terrell, if you ever use the word interesting or exciting for Zach Wilson again, I'm gonna slap you across the face. Zach Wilson, I don't care if he's a Bronco, he sucks. So I'm not gonna act like
maybe change the scenery.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe all the house
quarterback whisperer.
will revive.
Quarterback whisperer.
Yeah. But Michael Penix to the Denver Broncos, great fit, obviously, because he was an active quarterback. He could move, and the weapons aren't fantastic. But I think Sean Payton will manufacture plays. Sean Payton is a very good play caller for all the negatives that he is. He's a fantastic play caller, play the designer, and he'll get this guy in a position where he can use all this talent. He has talent through the roof. He's got to hone it in. Last year, honed it in, and look what happened for Washington. And to get him at 27, able to trade back and acquire a Chop Robinson, so you have two guys, offense and defense, for a team that is low key not as talented as people think. It's not a lot of stars on this team anymore. So I think taking shots at these guys who could be stars and doing it in the 20s, so you just shoot for upside. So Chop Robinson and Michael Penix are the epitome of upside in this draft. So take the shot. If you nail this pick, Sean Payton nails this pick, all the Russell Wilson noise, all the drama is gone. It's out the door. We've moved on.
That sounds like some hopeful Broncos fan talk there, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it, man. Let's move on here. Earlier in this draft, the Buffalo Bills traded up to take a receiver, right? You took a receiver there. Now, this is the back end of that trade. The Seattle Seahawks at number 28. Terrell, do you have the pick?
With the 20th pick, the Seattle Seahawks take defensive tackle out of Michigan, Kris Jenkins. I like the pick here for Seattle. Look, Coach McDonald coming in, wanting to strengthen that, defensive line there, doing what he did there, in Baltimore. So, I like what Seattle's going to do here at 28. I thought maybe they'd go quarterback, but with Sam Howell there, and Geno Smith, I like them going defensive tackle here at 28.
Kris Jenkins, not a name you see too much in a lot of first round mock drafts, but a guy that I think has at least been on all of our radar and in the back of our minds as we approach these final picks here in the first round. The Seahawks landing him. I love the mention of Mike Macdonald here because that just tells us This team is going to build around defense. He's from the Ravens, who spent a lot of high-end assets on building an elite defense. No doubt that is the plan for Mike Macdonald. Kris Jenkins there, a part of that plan. DA, the Lions, have a pick here. Take it away.
With the 29th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver out of Texas. So this is one that I think is about trying to give yourself as much upside as possible with the offense that you have. With Jared Goff, he's good, but there's a ceiling. So how can we maximize what this team can be underneath that ceiling? I've got some questions, because one of the critiques is he wasn't always the hardest worker at Texas. There's just times he was taking plays off on the field and stuff like that. That is not the Dan Campbell way, right? Yeah. But if Campbell feels like he's already got the infrastructure in this locker room, if he's already got that cohesion, that effort in the locker room, that they can keep this guy on the right path. You've got just a slot monster in Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah. You've got Jameson Williams that still has to prove it, but if nothing else, he's got speed. He's got kind of explosive big play ability. Now you get Adonai Mitchell. He's got explosive big play ability as well, and he's also got more size than Jameson. He's just a bigger bodied receiver. You could definitely go defense here. Maybe a Nate Wiggins type, maybe a defensive lineman or something like that. You could go offensive line. There's two good ones that a lot of times you see kind of in that late first round range. I think you could probably go for either of those there. But again, just trying to go all in on the offense between Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in the backfield, Laporta, Amon-Ra, that just really trying to be able to, outscore teams 21-20 or 41-40, right? And just giving yourself multiple different ways that you can win. It's a volatile pick. It's probably not the biggest position of need, but there's a good enough roster there that I think you take the home run swing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are kind of just known for volatile picks at this point. Dan Campbell, they take big swings. And I think Adonai Mitchell is another big swing. Me and Angel were obsessed with the Detroit Lions, obsessed with this offense. So much fun, this team. A lot of stories around them. Adonai Mitchell seems like the kind of guy they've been trying to land with Josh Reynolds, with the guy they got over from the Browns. I can't remember his name.
Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, Angel, what do you think about Adonai Mitchell's fit there with Jameson Williams, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta? What do you think?
Yeah, I think this pick screams we don't believe in Jameson Williams, and there's no really evidence that we should believe in him. He hasn't really had a consistent stretch in any point of his career where he's proven like, I could be the first round talent that you traded up for me to be. And I think he kind of does the same thing that Mitchell does, that Jameson Williams does, but I think it's a different type of body type. Obviously, Mitchell much more slender, Mitchell much more bigger, tall. I think it fits well, and I think they need this kind of perimeter wideout who can not just run fast, who is kind of can do, who is capable of doing more things than then just doing 9 routes down the field. I think this adds another layer and nuance to this already electric offense. So yeah, you throw him in here. Didn't have to be he's the number 3 target at best. If you don't count Gibbs. I think he fits in here where he can just learn your role, learn how to work hard. And I think in doing so, you'll find a role here because they've been on the hunt for another perimeter wideout for the last 2 years with the Jameson Williams suspension last year, and then with them kind of trading for Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think this is a nice fit.
A team here that was knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, really. With that loss in San Francisco, I believe, almost did it. Almost went to Santa Clara and beat the Niners there. That would have been amazing. They look at Adonai Mitchell here. Let's keep this moving now with the Baltimore Ravens. TA, just hit me. I should have given you this pick. My bad, man. But
no, I was looking at it. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna touch this one. I'm gonna see what the draft gods give us here. I'm down for this though. I like what you did here. You've got my stamp of approval.
Cool. I like it. Wow, that feels really good. With the 30th pick in the draft here, the Baltimore Ravens take big Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle out of Arizona, and they fill a spot here that if you look at their depth chart, we were talking before the show, you look at their depth chart and it's almost like they're saving this spot for this pick. It's almost like they already know someone's going to fall to us here, and that's going to be our starter and replace Morgan Moses. Morgan in both names. I don't know if that is fun to you, but it's fun to me. But Jordan Morgan here, the new right tackle in Baltimore, looked into him a little bit as to why he's following, because he had a great season last year. Was all Pac-12, started 12 games at left tackle, and I found out the reason he had maybe not been a top prospect at the end of the season is because where he started the season after coming off 3 straight seasons of some real injury concerns. First, high ankle sprains, those type of things, and then a torn ACL. And then him coming off that torn ACL, having the season he had last year, kind of propelled him back into this first round conversation. But I think if he doesn't start where he does as a prospect at the beginning of last year, he's much higher in this draft. And Jordan Morgan to the Ravens here. DA, you're the Ravens fan. You approve? Give me your thoughts.
I'm all about this. Now, we know that running is always going to be part of our identity because of Lamar. It's always going to be a part of our identity because we go out and we really try to find running backs, right? That doesn't always mean that we're getting that, Bijan, Breece, Saquon type, but we went out and at the start of Lamar's career, we had Mark Ingram that was really a focal point for us. We had Gus has been pretty effective for us. Dobbins has been effective when healthy. And then we went out and we got Derrick Henry this offseason. We know that the running game is going to be part of it. We're getting better in terms of our pass catchers. Andrew's obviously really good. Zay showed a lot as a rookie. He's still got room to grow and he needs to keep growing, but there's definitely something there. But you gotta keep Lamar as upright as possible. He's really good at avoiding hits. He's not the guy that Cam Newton just tries to run over someone. He's not the guy that just gets blindsided a lot. Yeah. But you got to let him at least get out of the pocket to be able to do that. Because if the pocket's collapsing, you're just going to get hit anyway. So get that lineman in. Zeitler is gone. Moses is gone. Stanley is getting more banged up. Linderbaum's great, but you need some of those tackles and guards as well. I'm all about Morgan.
I love it. Jordan Morgan there is a Raven. Angel, you have the Niners pick, and I think one of the steals of the draft here. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the 31st pick in the 2024 NFL draft, the 49ers select Jackson Powers Johnson, center. Shame on the Dallas Cowboys. Shame on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shame on the Seattle Seahawks. We're not selecting this day one starter who's going to be a cornerstone for any offensive line that he goes to. San Francisco is so happy if this happens for 2 reasons. One, we saw last year Trent Williams goes down. That offensive line is not capable of running an effective offense. We saw that because they didn't have anyone to lean on who was the star, who could be an anchor for a line. This really solidifies that line. Trent Williams is 38. He's not going to play. He's not going to play forever. He's 38, 39. I think this also gives you a future in this offensive line. It solidifies that center spot. Also, it gives you another potential star on that offensive line, and also someone who is capable of playing in any kind of zone or power run scheme. Obviously, Shanahan runs that zone run scheme. I think he has size, speed, agility to do that. Also, be an anchor for offensive line. And 2, it's a total steal. A total steal if he remains all the way to 31 here, and the Niners always in NFC title games need pieces that will help them out. This is a fantastic piece. I cannot believe he lasted this long, and it'll be a slam dunk pick.
Adams, this is the kind of guy that the Ravens usually land late in the draft here. I tried to do all the mental gymnastics I could to convince myself that he could fit with the Ravens. Ravens just didn't need an interior offensive lineman in my estimation, especially someone who is probably his best at center, having Linderbaum on the roster. And so I had to bite my lip and just not pick Jackson Powers Johnson. But I think here to the Niners, they had McKivitz last year take over at right tackle. He's capable. I think they had planned on moving him to the inside. Maybe they don't do that now with Jackson Powers Johnson in there and not taking a tackle. Either way, like Angel says, and I want to clarify just for to save Angel the nasty comments in the comment section here. Angel's not saying he's going to take over for Trent Williams at left tackle. He's saying from a leadership position, from an anchor position, someone to call out blitzes, someone to lead that offensive line group. Jackson Powers Johnson could be that guy in the offensive line room. And this is just a steal, a steal. Terrell, wrap up this draft with your last firework of this mock draft season. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
With the last pick in the first round of this year's draft, the Kansas City Chiefs take, in my opinion, going to be the steal of the draft. Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. I mean, he's a big receiver, basketball player. You know, he's got that ability to make some noise there in the red zone. He's a receiver that Patrick Mahomes hasn't really had. He hasn't really had that tall receiver who can go up and get those jump balls. You know, he's going to be someone, you know, that you're going to say, how did Patrick Mahomes get this guy? How did Andy Reid get his hand on this guy? Telling you, he is going to blow everybody out of the water with, you know, being on the Chiefs. So Keon Coleman, he's going to be the steal of the draft. He's going to make some noise this season.
6'4", 215 pounds, and still just 20 years old. Keon Coleman here goes to the Chiefs. Keon Coleman, Rashee Rice, maybe Marquise Brown. I mean, Travis Kelce. You have some weapons now here for Patrick Mahomes. We have a Seminole fan here on set, so let's go to him. DA, Keon Coleman. Give us your take on him. You've seen a lot of them.
I'm about it. I think that he's got more physical tools than people who only show up for NFL draft season, right? Sometimes we can overweight like combine testing numbers and things like that. And so you look at his 40 time at the combine, I think he's in the 4.6s, and you say, oh, this guy's just not going to be able to separate. You know what? He's probably not going to be the next, you know, Keenan Allen just shredding people with routes or something like that. But he's got enough juice. Like if you turn on the tape, if you watch the games, he's got enough juice to separate. He's absolutely going to just go up and dunk on someone at some point. And like you said, right, you've got Kelce just tearing apart zones. You've got Rice assuming that his suspension or whatever legal
breaking
status,
speed limits,
is able to be worked out there. Hollywood can go deep; he can play underneath some, but having this guy that can just threaten you vertically in a little different sort of way. And Mahomes, you know, he's going to scramble around anyway, right? So he's going to create time. You can't guard everyone forever. So I think this is certainly someone who's a good fit here in Kansas City.
I like too that just you list off those weapons. It's just guys who could do everything, just every aspect of the offense here. And that's kind of the Andy Reid offense. He's someone who is going to find your strength and create a position in the offense for you. That's what he's done with all these guys. All these Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, all these guys, even Rashee Rice. He created a role for them, and they've thrived in it. And you have, I mean, you listed a bunch of guys. Rashee Rice breaking speed limits off the field. Marquise Brown breaking them on the field. It's going to be incredible to watch this offense with those two guys. Guys, that's the mock draft 3.0. Congrats to you guys. Hey, I want to say, and now on behalf of Angel as well, thank you to these two guys for all the work they put on during this mock draft season. You guys have added so much. I've loved all your takes. You guys have taught me so much. I can't wait now to sit back now. We've done the work. We've put it in. We know as much as I think we know at this point, and just let's see how this falls. Really, really excited for the draft. Really excited for this mock draft to hit. Angel, you got something?
Yeah, I have a question for David Adams and Terrell before the draft starts. Your guaranteed non-top play, like your guaranteed pick, who isn't a top 3 pick, obviously, the minus Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels, and Drake Maye / JJ McCarthy. Who is your write it down in pen right now in stone? Who is your guaranteed pick in this draft?
I'm going to say that New Orleans takes Olu Fashanu. I think we've got it here. I think there's enough other offensive players that are going to go early. And so if we're kind of trying to look down the board, right, not just 5 or 6, or something like that, we're kind of trying to look down the board. Man, we know we're throwing darts. I think he's viewed more as a pure left tackle. So, but Alt has him beat there. Other guys' versatility, especially with some of those teams picking that really could use guys that can play on either side. So I think he gets there to New Orleans, and I think Fashanu is the guy at 14.
Love it. Terrell?
Yeah, I'm going O-line again. Pittsburgh taking Mims there. I mean, that's the guy I think is, solid. I think that's their guy. That's who they're targeting. Amarius Mims to the Steelers.
All right. I like it. Two offensive linemen there. That's going to be the theme of the draft. Angel, go ahead. Yeah.
Mine to clarify, Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 3. Please, please, please do the right thing. New England Patriots, Jayden Maye, whoever the GM is there, do the right thing. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, number 3 overall. You won't be disappointed.
Listen, knowing this guy, if Marvin Harrison goes number 3 to the Patriots,
we're doing victory laps.
Till next draft. Like it's going to be the rest of his career.
Absolutely.
DA actually put in the notes here a couple something I want to mention real quick. Guys who didn't make the top round who are going to be right at the top there at that second round. That's always a really fun time when the guy slips out of the first round. Nate Wiggins, the smaller but very talented quarterback out of Clemson. Kool-Aid McKinstry, someone who was projected top 15 at least a year ago. Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. Bo Nix, the quarterback out of Oregon. That's going to be a fun one. Zerhan Newton, someone who had consistently been in this first round mock draft for us. Maybe kicked out here by a Darius Robinson and a Kris Jenkins. And then Xavier Worthy, the speedy receiver out of Texas, the counterpart, of course, to Adonai Mitchell. Really, really fun there. Guys, that is it. I'm going to wrap this up now. We will see all of you Thursday night for the draft, live on YouTube, starting at 4:30. Hey, let's be there early, because in that first little window there, we're going to have Coach Jason Brown of Last Chance U. Really excited to talk to him. Of course, a lot of stuff going on that night. So many things going on that night. We're going to try to just make it a real fun time. Tailgate atmosphere with a lot of good information, of course, keeping track of every single pick. Thanks again to these two guys. Thanks again to Gabe and AJ, not here as well. These guys have worked their tails off the last couple of weeks to give as much draft information as we could to our bench warmers. Hey, shout out to the bench warmers. We love you guys too.
Shout out to you guys.
You guys have been awesome lately. A lot of new people on the channel. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the comments, even the ones that aren't so nice. We just are thankful for all the interaction, because we love football. We love the draft. I hope you can tell that by the way we talk about it. We will see you Thursday night for the NFL draft. It's finally here. Let's do it, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you Thursday.
Peace.
Bye.
Go.